Have you ever felt like your voice is too small to be heard? Like your prayers just get lost in the noise of the world, especially when powerful people are praying for the exact opposite? Well, today we re-diving into a story that will completely change how you see the power of your own faith. It's the incredible account of Rahab, a woman whose prayer was heard and answered by God over the prayer of a king. Let's set the scene. The Israelites are on the brink of entering the promised land, and their first target is the mighty, fortified city of Jericho. Everyone inside Jericho is terrified. The king of Jericho, you can bet, was praying hard. He was likely praying to his gods for protection, for victory, for the walls of his city to stand strong, and for the invading army to be destroyed. His entire kingdom, his power, his very life was on the line. From a human perspective, his prayers seemed pretty important, right? But then there's Rahab. She wasn't a queen, a priestess, or a general. The Bible tells us she was a prostitute, living in a house built right into the city wall. She was an outsider, on the lowest rungs of her society. Yet, she had heard stories of the God of Israel, how he parted the Red Sea and gave them victory over powerful kings. And in her heart, a tiny seed of faith began to grow. So, when two Israelite spies show up at her door, she doesn't turn them in. Instead, she hides them. This was a massive risk. If she were caught, it would mean certain death for her and her family. But she does it anyway. And then, she makes her move. She tells the spies, "I know that the Lord has given you this land, for the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below." Do you see what's happening here? She isn't just saying words. She's declaring her faith. She recognizes the one true God in the face of all the idols and gods worshipped in Jericho. Then she makes her plea, her prayer. She asks the spies to swear an oath, to spare her and her entire family when the city falls. It was a simple, desperate prayer from a woman with everything to lose. So we have two prayers going up. One from a king, praying for the preservation of his city and his power. The other from a marginalized woman, praying for the salvation of her family. Whose prayer do you think God heard? Fast forward. The Israelites march around Jericho for 6 days. On the seventh day, they circle it 7 times, the priests blow the trumpets, and the people shout. And what happens? The massive, impenetrable walls of Jericho come tumbling down. The city is utterly defeated, just as God promised. The king's prayers for protection went unanswered. His city was gone, his power was broken. The spies, true to their word, found her and brought her and her entire family to safety. Her prayer was answered. God not only saved her life, but welcomed her into the community of Israel. And the story doesn't even end there. Rahab goes on to marry an Israelite man named Salmon. And if you trace her family line down through history, you'll find some very famous names. King David was her descendant. And even more astonishingly, Jesus Christ himself is a descendant of Rahab. This woman, once an outcast, is listed in the genealogy of the Messiah in the book of Matthew. So what does this incredible story teach us? It shows that God doesn't look at our status, our power, or our position in society. He doesn't listen to the loudest voice or the most eloquent prayer. He looks at the heart. He responds to faith, even if it's just a tiny spark in the darkest of places. Rahab's faith, her willingness to risk everything based on what she believed about God, was more powerful than a king's desperate pleas. Your voice is not too small. Your prayers are not insignificant. When you pray with a heart full of faith, you are speaking to the God who can make walls fall, and who honors the faith of the humble over the pride of the powerful. So next time you feel small or unheard, remember Rahab. Remember that faith is the currency of God's kingdom, and even the quietest, most desperate prayer of faith can change history forever. Thanks so much for watching. If this story encouraged you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that builds your faith. See you next time.